Hey everybody, it's Jose Laya. It's March of 2023. Hope everyone's doing well. The purpose of today's video is that we wanted to highlight the Miami real estate market in 2022. Not just that year, but to put it into context, we wanted to take 2022 and look at it, relatively speaking, versus previous years in the Miami real estate market. You know, nowadays you see all these news headlines that the real estate market's crashing, the prices are decreasing, etc., etc. And while that may be true, if you compare it to 2021, which was really a perfect storm for real estate globally. So we've taken data points going back to a normal market, which would be not 2020, but would be 2019, which would be the year before the pandemic. And then just to make sure that the data wasn't off, we said, let's take it a year further. So you'll see on this graph here, data in 2018, 2019, and then through 2022. And then we'll compare 2022 to a normal real estate market to kind of put it into context as to what happened last year and where we are today. So let's dive right into the graph. And here we go. I just wanted to show it to you in black and white. And you'll clearly see that last year was not a crashing market. It was a correction. It was a returning to a normal market. Okay, here we go. So we'll basically start from left to right. 2018 is the first year that we have data for. And what we did is that instead of taking, the entire data set for Miami-Dade County, which would be overwhelming for you, but also for us, we took a sample size from popular areas here in Miami. We took single-family homes in Coconut Grove, single-family homes in Miami Beach, specifically South Beach. But then we also took a different property type. We took condominiums in Brickell, which is the more popular area, and then we also took condos in Miami Beach, specifically south of 5th. And it gives us different ranges, but also gives us a different subset so that we can kind of take that and see what really happened in the market. So let's dive right in. I think you'll see that the data proves that it's pretty much right in line with what we're saying. So look at 2018. We'll start from left to right. 2018, single family homes in Coconut Grove, okay? We took the number of sales for the year, and we also took the median price per square foot. That's what we have here on the graph. We'll start with 2018, top left. There's 204 single-family houses sold in Coconut Grove in 2018 at a median price per square foot of $454 per square foot. Okay, you'll see it here. Now, let's just quickly glance down to 2019. What happened in 2019 in Coconut Grove? The number of sales increased a little bit to 230, but the price actually went down to 440. Let's jump over to the right of that and look at Brickell. So 1331 Brickell Bay Drive is a condo that we follow closely for many years and we know very well. It's Jade Brickell. We took one condo just to kind of see what's happening in the Brickell market and in the condo market, which is very important here in Miami. In 2018, you'll see that they had 14 sales for the year, and then in 2019, they had 17 sales. So small increase, but again, we actually see the price per square foot going down from 2018 to 2019. It went from 590 to 549. It's right here. Let's hop over to the next column. 400 Dalton Road, that's Murano Grande in south of 5th. It's a condominium that we know very well and we've been following for years. Look at the number of sales for the year 2018. 14. 2019, 13. Very small change, almost none. But again, price per square foot actually went down, 755 to 742. Last column, this is number of sales for single family houses in South Beach. That's why the zip code there says 33139. The number of single family houses sold in South Beach in 2018, 52. 2019, 44. Small decrease. And again, the price per square foot went down from 885 to 874. What we can gather clearly from 2018 to 2019, the number of sales stayed roughly about the same, maybe decreased. But what was pretty much more apparent was that the prices started decreasing from 2018 to 2019 across the board, as you could see here. Then comes 2020. Obviously, March of 2020. Actually, this week, 3 years ago, is when the pandemic first hit. 2020, we had a 1 in 100 year global pandemic that shut down the entire world. Nothing that we've ever lived through before. And that happened really March of 2020. So from there, that year, that data set for the year, it's going to be skewed. And we'll show you an interesting stat at the end of this graph of this row. So let's look at the number of sales. Single family homes in Coconut Grove, 228, just about the same from the previous year. Now here's the interesting part. We start seeing prices increasing, even in the midst of a pandemic. $485 a foot when it was $440. Jump over to Brickell, the number of sales slowed to 12, but the price per square foot, look how it increased from $549 to $723. Hop over to Marano Grande, the number of sales increased slightly from 13 to 15, but again, the price per square foot increased to $820. And then single family homes in South Beach, in Miami Beach, went from 44 the previous year to 77. And the price per square foot, look how it skyrocketed to $1,165 per square foot. Now, the number 77 stuck out to us, not only because it was a big increase from 44, but we said, hey, wow, not only did that increase, but the prices increased. Let's take a look and dive a little further. So we dove into those numbers. And the interesting part of that 77 in total is that the first half of the year, from January 1st to June 30th, there were only 16 houses that sold in 6 months. 16, which means that the second half of the year, 61 houses sold in 6 months. That's more than any of the 2 years prior. If that doesn't show you an acceleration, I don't know what will. But that really stood out to us. 61 sales in 6 months. That is the true beginning of that pandemic buying spree. And it started on Miami Beach, as you could see. Now, 2021, we actually have it in green, the stoplight effect, right? Green means go. And 2021 was the year of the perfect storm for real estate, not only here in Miami, but pretty much across the US and globally. As we had ultra low interest rates, we had a pandemic buying spree, we had people moving here at an unprecedented rate, mainly because the state of Florida was one of only a handful of states out of the 50 United States that remained open during the pandemic. And that term, work from home, since nobody was going to the office, you could pretty much work from anywhere. So people said, why not move to Florida, specifically Miami? And they did. And the numbers will show that. Look at 2021, that first column. Whew, let me catch my breath because this is a big year and you'll see it here. 2021, 379 single family houses sold in Coconut Grove. When the year before it was 228 and on average it was about the low 200s. 379. Again, look at the price per square foot, how it jumped from 485 to 628. Let's hop over to Brickell. I mean, you'll see it across the board. It's impressive. The sales went in Jade Brickell from 12 in 1 year to 41. If you look at the 3 previous years and add it up, it makes just a little bit more than 41. What does that show you? That shows you that in 1 year, they sold more condos in that building than they did in the prior 3 years combined. Price per square foot actually went down a bit to 679, which was interesting. We guess from the velocity of sales of people wanting to sell. Marano Grande, this one we follow very closely and we do business in. We were really shocked to see this because the sales went from basically, if you look at the prior 3 years, 14, 13, 15, it jumped to 44. Again, there was more sales in 1 year than the 3 previous years combined. And the price per square foot skyrocketed to almost $1,000 per square foot, $998. Single family homes in Miami Beach, and South Beach specifically, 155. Again, huge number, almost as much as the 3 prior years combined. We feel that the big number in single family houses was obviously because it's Miami Beach, and Miami Beach put Miami on the map, let's face it. The price per square foot again jumped to $1,183. So clearly 21 was a huge year, not only in the number of sales, but the price per square foot increased dramatically. Now let's look at 2022, last year. What happened? We see these news headlines that the real estate market's crashing, prices are going down. And the truth is, if you compare it to 2021, which was an anomaly, it was a perfect storm of a real estate market, you could say, oh my God, it might be crashing. But you have to really put 2022 into context and compare that to other years, to normal years in the real estate market, to see, hey, were the sales really that low? Was it that bad? And you'll see that the numbers clearly show it was more of a correction than anything. So here we go. In 2022, single family homes in Coconut Grove, 180. If you look at 180, relatively speaking, to like even 2020, 2019, 2018, it is lower. It's a bit off, but it's nothing huge. But if you look at it compared to 21, where there was 379, and then now you're going to 180, that's a 67% decrease. So if you take that one number and compare it to the prior year, you could say, oh my God, it's crashing. Yes, but keep going. Let's dive deeper. Look at the price per square foot, $891. So the price per square foot actually increased, even though the number of sales decreased dramatically. And you'll see that across the board. The number of sales slowed, but prices still increased. The number of sales in Jade Brickell went from 41 to 31. Price per square foot, again, went up to 867 from 679. Number of sales in Murano Grande, 400 Alton Road, south of 5th, went from 44 to 17. Huge drop off, right? But look at 17, relatively speaking, to the prior years. It's actually pretty good. And again, the price per square foot, look how it increased dramatically to $1,273 per square foot. Huge increase in south of 5th. Single family homes in Miami Beach, in South Beach, in 33139, went from 155, which was through the roof, to 51. Again, another 67% decrease. So if you take that one number and look at it and put it on a headline that the market's crashing, you could probably think so. But then look at the price per square foot, increased again, 1,281. So if you look at 2022 and you get anything from it, prices increased, even from that anomaly of a year of 21. What did decrease, and is an accurate statement, is that the number of sales, the number of properties that sold did decrease. Okay, so where are we now? I wanted to take 2022 and compare it to a normal year for real estate sales here in Miami, just to put it into context to see, was it really a terrible year? Is it crashing? And that's why I put that last line item, that last row, and I separated it from the graph, compares 2022 versus 2019, which was the last normal year for real estate here in Miami before the pandemic. And you'll clearly see across the board, all those arrows are green, with the one exception of the number of single family homes that sold in Coconut Grove in 2019 was 230, and in 2022 was 180. It's a decrease of 22%. Everything else across the board, prices and number of sales increased dramatically. 102%, the price per square foot for single family houses increased from 2019 to 2022. The price per square foot increased to 102%. The number of sales in Jade Brickell went from 14, 17, 12 to 31. So it wasn't 41 like the year before, but still 31 compared to pretty much an average of 15 per year. That's up 82%. The price per square foot went up 57%. Let's look at Murano Grande next door, next column. The number of sales, 17. You could say that's about average, that's about normal, because the prior years were 14, 13, and 15, and that's 17. So it's up 30%. But the price per square foot, huge. It's up 72% from 2019. And the last column, the number of single family homes sold in Miami Beach was 51. If you compare it to 21, you're like, wow, that's a huge decrease, from 155. But that year wasn't normal. Let's go to 2019. It was 44. Let's go to 2018. It was 52. So 51, about normal. It's actually a 15% increase from 2019. And again, you'll notice the theme across the board. The price per square foot from back in 2019 has skyrocketed across the board. In Miami Beach single family homes, it's up to $1,281 per square foot, which is a 47% increase from 2019. I wanted to put this in black and white to really put the real estate market into context of what happened in 2022. This clearly shows 2022 market wasn't crashing. It was a correction. It was returning back to a normal market. Okay. Now, the interesting thing about this data is that it's in black and white. You could see it here. Now, if you take just one column and one number and compare it to 2021, anything is going to look bad. But overall, it was a pretty good real estate market. Now, we are in the second week of March of 2023. In 2 weeks, the first quarter will close. And we will be back here in a couple of weeks because we're going to take the data of this first quarter of 2023 and compare it to the first quarter of 2022 to give us a better indication as to what to expect for this year, for 2023. Will the market keep correcting itself or will it crash, as some people are predicting? We don't know. So far from what we could see, the data is pointing to that we're still in a correction. Okay. We do have some headwinds we're facing. Interest rates obviously skyrocketed from last year. They're not in the 3% range anymore. They're between 6 and 7%. This week, we also had the failure of Silicon Valley Bank, which gratefully it was rescued by the Fed. It was rescued and bailed out by the Fed. And now we're going to see, where the chips fall with that going forward. So we are facing some headwinds for 2023. The war still going on between Ukraine and Russia. So we've got some interesting times ahead. But again, at the end of this, in 2 weeks, we're going to take the data from the first quarter of 23 and analyze it versus first quarter of 2022 to see what happened this quarter, give us a better indication as to what to expect moving forward. We have seen prices decrease. Actually, the pace of increases stopped really pretty much towards the end of the summer when interest rates shot up to over 6% and very close to 7%. Since then, we have seen pricing decrease, even though in 2022, you could see across the board, prices did increase, but that really happened more so towards the beginning of the year. Second half of the year is when we saw the price increasing stop and prices actually started decreasing. So this first quarter data is going to really give us a better indication as to what to expect moving forward. So again, I'm Jose Laya. I hope I was able to provide some value out there and really put things into context. I love putting things in black and white for you to see, for you to make your determination, but also I like diving deeper into the numbers than all these headlines that you see out there that just, look at one data set and nothing else. So I hope I was able to provide some value. I'm always available to help. Should you have any questions, should you need any help with real estate here in Miami, I'm always here for you. Until next time, we'll talk soon and have a great one.